the shadow of the monster, Naoya Inoue, another force has been rising in Japan. Silent. Deadly. Unstoppable. His name is Junto Nakatani, and while the world watched Inoue conquer division after division, this southpaw assassin has been carving his own path of destruction through the lower weight classes. 31 fights, 31 wins, 24 knockouts, 3 division world champion, and he's just getting started. This is the story of boxing's best-kept secret, the dark horse of Japan, the man they call Big Bang.
Up the uppercut and then goes with a knockdown, scored with a right uppercut.
Junto Nakatani wasn't supposed to be here. Born on January 2nd, 1998, in Inabe, Mie Prefecture. His father sent him to karate school at age 9 because young Junto spent too much time playing video games. But when he discovered boxing, everything changed. At just 15 years old, Nakatani made a decision that would define his career. He flew alone to Los Angeles to train with veteran coach Rudy Hernandez at various gyms across Southern California. From Maywood Boxing Club to what is now LA Boxing Gym in downtown's Japantown, a teenage Nakatani immersed himself in the American boxing culture, far from home, driven by a singular obsession. Hernandez describes him as a fighter who arrives early to every session, treating each camp like a business trip. If he's on time, he's late. The legendary trainer has worked with countless fighters over his decades in the sport, including his own brother, former world champion Genaro Hernandez. But when asked about Nakatani, Rudy doesn't hesitate. He calls him the greatest fighter he's ever trained. What sets Nakatani apart isn't just his physical gifts. Standing 5'7" with a reach of 67 inches, he's not particularly imposing for a bantamweight. It's his approach to the craft, his understanding, his precision. Junto is now 27 and has full-fledged manpower, Hernandez has said. He understands. He's accurate. He knows where to hit and how. He has good reflexes and instincts. This isn't the typical trainer hype. This is a measured assessment from a man who has seen generations of fighters come and go. And in Nakatani, he sees something special, something rare. The preparation is meticulous. Nakatani trains in Los Angeles for every camp, maintaining a routine that borders on obsessive. There are no shortcuts, no days off, just the relentless pursuit of perfection. His work ethic has become legendary among those who witness it. While other fighters might treat training camp as a necessary evil, Nakatani approaches it like an artist refining his masterpiece. But training is only half the equation. What truly separates elite fighters from the rest is what happens when the bell rings. And that's where Nakatani transforms from dedicated student to devastating destroyer. Nakatani's professional journey began in April 2015, when he was just 17 years old. From the very beginning, it was clear this wasn't an ordinary prospect. He moved through opponents with surgical precision, his southpaw stance creating angles that confused and frustrated everyone who stood across from him. In February 2017, he entered the Japanese flyweight youth tournament. In the opening round, he faced Atiwit Munyapo and won by second-round technical knockout. Joel Taduran fell next, stopped in 4 rounds. But it was in the semi-finals that Nakatani faced his first real test. Yuma Kudo knocked him down for the first time in his career. For a moment, the unbeaten prospect tasted the canvas, felt the sting of vulnerability. But champions aren't made by avoiding adversity. They're made by overcoming it. Nakatani got up, regained his composure, and won by majority decision. The finals pitted him against Seigo Yuri Akui, a tough, experienced fighter who would later challenge for world titles himself. Nakatani dismantled him, stopping Akui in the 6th round. He was named tournament MVP. The message was sent. A new force had arrived. Over the next 2 years, Nakatani continued his march through the flyweight division. 4 more wins followed, each more impressive than the last. Then came the opportunity for a Japanese national title. On November 24, 2018, Nakatani faced Naoki Mochizuki for the vacant Japanese flyweight championship. He won by 9th round technical knockout. Claiming his first professional title. He defended it once, then made a calculated decision. The Japanese title had served its purpose. It was time to think bigger. Nakatani vacated the belt. He had his eyes on World Championship gold. The WBO flyweight title became vacant, and Nakatani was positioned for the opportunity of a lifetime. On November 6, 2020, at the legendary Korakuen Hall in Tokyo, he faced Guillermo Magramo of the Philippines for the vacant championship. The bout had been postponed 3 times due to the pandemic, the anticipation building with each delay. When they finally met, Nakatani was ready to make a statement. He dominated from the opening bell. His range was perfect, his timing impeccable. Magramo tried to close the distance, to turn it into a brawl, but every time he stepped forward, Nakatani's punches were there to meet him. Sharp, accurate, punishing. In the 8th round, Nakatani unleashed a combination that sent Magramo to the canvas. The Filipino fighter beat the count, showing the heart of a warrior. But the writing was on the wall. The referee waved it off. Junto Nakatani was a world champion. He was 22 years old. His first defense came against Angel Acosta, a skilled Puerto Rican southpaw and former WBO light flyweight champion. The fight, after COVID delays, finally happened on September 11, 2021. Nakatani put on a masterclass, controlling range, landing his signature left hand at will. He won by unanimous decision with scores that reflected total dominance. But Nakatani wasn't content to reign at flyweight. He had outgrown the division, and a new challenge beckoned. On November 1st, 2022, he was moving up to super flyweight, where bigger challenges and bigger opportunities awaited. The move to 115 pounds was seamless. Nakatani faced Francisco Rodriguez Jr., a former world title challenger, on November 1st, 2022. He won every minute of every round, earning a unanimous decision with scores of 98-91, 97-92, and 99-90. The performance caught the attention of the sanctioning bodies. When WBO super flyweight champion Kazuto Yoka vacated the title to pursue other opportunities, Nakatani found himself in position for another world championship. His opponent would be Andrew Maloney, a skilled Australian with designs on glory. The date was May 20th, 2023. The stage was set for Nakatani to announce his arrival to an American audience. He didn't disappoint. From the opening bell, Nakatani was in control. His movement was fluid, his power evident with every shot. Maloney tried to make it competitive, showing toughness and determination. But there are levels to this sport. And on this night, Nakatani was operating on a different level entirely.
submission. Absolute devastating dynamite.
When the final bell rang, there was no doubt. He had conquered a second weight division.
Junto Nakatani.
At 25 years old, Junto Nakatani was a two-division world champion. His first defense came against Argi Cortez on September 18, 2023, back home at the Ariake Arena in Tokyo. Nakatani dropped Cortez 3 times en route to a unanimous decision victory.
Body shot, yeah.
Climbing up and down again.
It was dominant. It was impressive. But Nakatani already had his eyes on an even bigger prize. The bantamweight division was calling. On February 24, 2024, Junto Nakatani stepped into the ring at the Ryogoku Kokugikan in Tokyo for the biggest fight of his career. Across from him stood Alexandro Santiago, the WBC bantamweight champion. Santiago had won the vacant title the previous summer with a decision over future Hall of Famer Nonito Donaire. He was tough, experienced, and determined to make his first defense a successful one. What happened next shocked the boxing world. Nakatani was bigger, stronger, and faster than Santiago had expected. Every punch carried bad intentions. Santiago tried to weather the storm, tried to find a way to turn the tide, but there was no escape. Nakatani's left hand was a hammer, his combinations relentless.
Good shots there for Nakatani.
In the 6th round, it was over.
Here in round.
Oh! Huge left hand by Nakatani drops the champion.
A barrage of punches forced the referee to step in.
Right hand, down goes Santiago again. This time it was the right hook that caused damage to drop Santiago for this second time.
I think the corner stopped it. Yep, that's it.
That's the end of the...
Nakatani had won by technical knockout. He was now a 3-division world champion, and he had done it in devastating fashion.
Now champion at bantamweight.
But he was just getting started. 5 months later, on July 20th, 2024, Nakatani made his first WBC bantamweight title defense against Vincent Astrolabio at the Ryogoku Kokugikan. Astrolabio was the mandatory challenger, a Filipino fighter with 19 wins and 4 losses. He came to win. He came to shock the world. It lasted exactly 1 round. Nakatani came out firing. His power at this weight simply overwhelming. A vicious body shot folded Astrolabio in half. The Filipino fighter crumpled to the canvas, unable to beat the count. 1st round knockout. Statement made. The boxing world was starting to take notice. This wasn't just a good fighter. This was something special. Comparisons to Naoya Inoue were inevitable, but Nakatani was carving his own path, writing his own story with every knockout. The second defense came on October 14, 2024, against Petch Sor Chitpattana, a Thai fighter with a record of 76 wins and just 1 loss. Only 1 fighter had ever beaten him before, Takuma Inoue, Naoya's younger brother. And that defeat had come by decision, not knockout. Nakatani was about to do what even the Inoue family hadn't accomplished. The first 3 rounds were tactical, both southpaws feeling each other out, trying to establish range and timing. In the 4th round, Chitpattana opened up, applying pressure, forcing exchanges. It was exactly what Nakatani wanted. The Thai fighter was tough, durable, one of those warriors who simply refuses to quit. But toughness can only take you so far when you're in the ring with someone operating on another level. In the 6th round, Nakatani connected with a devastating straight left hand.
Oh, that was a big shot right there.
The referee had seen enough. Technical knockout, 6th round. Nakatani had accomplished what even Naoya Inoue couldn't. He had stopped Petch Sor Chitpattana by knockout. He was being touted as the heir to the monster, and performances like this made it impossible to argue otherwise.
Way of technical knockout, Junto Nakatani.
As 2025 began, Junto Nakatani stood at a crossroads. He had cleaned out his mandatory challengers. He had proven his dominance at bantamweight beyond any shadow of doubt. The question now was simple. What's next? On February 24th, 2025, exactly 1 year to the day after winning the WBC title, Nakatani returned to the Ariake Arena to face David Cuellar Contreras, an unbeaten Mexican fighter with a perfect record. It lasted 3 rounds. Nakatani was sharper than ever, his timing perfect, his power undeniable. In the 3rd round, he unleashed a combination that sent Cuellar crashing to the canvas.
Nakatani's got him hurt, and he's got him down. Cuellar sees the canvas for the first time as a pro, and he nearly gets knocked out there.
Knockout. Another undefeated fighter had fallen to the Big Bang. After the fight, something significant happened. The stage was set for a unification bout, a battle between the 2 best bantamweights in Japan. Ryosuke Nishida, the IBF bantamweight champion, perhaps the 2 best in the world. The date was set, June 8th, 2025, at the Ariake Coliseum in Tokyo. Nishida was no easy opponent. At 29 years old, he was a skilled southpaw technician with a perfect record of 10 wins and 0 losses. He had won the IBF title by defeating Emmanuel Rodriguez, a former unified champion, in May 2024. He had defended it once with a knockout victory. This was a legitimate world-class fighter at the peak of his powers. When the bell rang to start the fight, both men came out firing. This wasn't a feeling-out process. This was 2 elite fighters going to war from the opening seconds. Nakatani doubled and tripled up on right uppercuts, looking for his signature overhand left. Nishida fired back with combinations of his own, refusing to be intimidated. The early rounds were competitive. Nishida showed why he was a world champion, landing clean shots, moving well, making Nakatani work for everything.
Nishida all the way down.
But as the fight progressed, Nakatani's power began to tell the story. By the 4th round, Nishida's right eye was starting to swell. By the 5th, it was clear something was seriously wrong. The swelling grew worse with each passing minute, each landed punch making it harder for Nishida to see. In the 6th round, Nakatani went to work on that eye with surgical precision. Left hands found their target again and again. The swelling grew to grotesque proportions. At the end of the round, Nishida returned to his corner, his right eye completely shut. His team made the only decision they could. Before the 7th round could begin, they informed the referee that Nishida couldn't continue.
And justifiably so.
Technical knockout. Junto Nakatani was now the unified WBC and IBF bantamweight champion. He also claimed the Ring Magazine championship, cementing his status as the true king of the division. Ever since I was at flyweight, I wanted to unify the titles, Nakatani said through his translator after the fight. Finally at bantamweight, I received my first opportunity, and I am very happy with the result. He had now scored knockout wins in each of his 5 fights at bantamweight. He was a perfect 10-0 in world title fights spanning 3 weight divisions. The resume was becoming impossible to ignore. Watching from ringside that night was Naoya Inoue, the undisputed super bantamweight champion. The man many consider the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. The clash between Japan's 2 monsters was no longer a question of if, but when. What makes Junto Nakatani so devastating? To understand his dominance, you have to break down what happens when he steps into the ring. First, there's the southpaw stance. Fighting a lefty is difficult for any boxer, but Nakatani has mastered every angle and distance that the stance provides. His jab is a rangefinder, a weapon that sets up everything else. It's not just thrown for points, it's thrown with purpose, snapping heads back, creating openings. Then there's the left hand, his money punch, his closer. It comes in different forms. The straight left down the pipe, the left hook to the body and head.
Nice shot. That one.
The overhand left that comes crashing down from unexpected angles. When Nakatani lands it clean, fights tend to end shortly thereafter. But power alone doesn't make a great fighter. Plenty of punchers flame out because they lack the technical foundation to consistently land their shots. Nakatani is different. His footwork is excellent, allowing him to maintain perfect distance or close the gap in an instant. His head movement is subtle but effective. Perhaps most impressive is his ring IQ. Nakatani doesn't just fight on instinct. He adjusts mid-fight, recognizes patterns, and exploits weaknesses with ruthless efficiency.
That one hurt. That delayed reaction.
When Petch Sor Chitpattana came forward aggressively, Nakatani slowed down, let him come in, and countered perfectly. When Nishida's eye began to swell, Nakatani targeted it without mercy.
Nakatani has not retreated except when he got hit.
His combinations are thrown with bad intentions. 3, 4, 5 punch combinations that land with increasing ferocity. Body shots that take the wind out of opponents, followed immediately by headshots that turn off the lights. It's beautiful in its brutality, a masterclass in systematic destruction. And then there's the stamina. Nakatani fights at a high pace, but never seems to tire. His conditioning is exceptional, allowing him to maintain power and speed deep into fights when opponents are fading. This is the result of those grueling training camps in Los Angeles, the early mornings and late nights, the relentless work that nobody sees, but everyone benefits from when fight night arrives. Rudy Hernandez has molded Nakatani into a complete fighter. There are no obvious weaknesses to exploit. His defense is solid, his offense overwhelming, and his mental game unshakable. This is what 31-0 looks like when the 0 actually means something. As Junto Nakatani moves through 2025 and into 2026, the boxing world is fixated on one question: who can beat him? The most obvious answer, the fight everyone wants to see, is Naoya Inoue. The monster reigns at super bantamweight, holding all 4 major titles. He's considered by many to be the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, a generational talent who has destroyed everyone in his path. But here's the thing, so has Nakatani. A clash between Inoue and Nakatani would be seismic. 2 Japanese destroyers, both in their primes, both undefeated, both with knockout power that can end a fight in a single exchange. The speculation has reached fever pitch, with Saudi Arabian boxing financier Turki Al Sheikh reportedly keen on making the fight happen. For it to occur, Nakatani would need to move up in weight to super bantamweight, challenging Inoue at 122 pounds. It's a jump Nakatani has said he's considering, especially if it means facing the biggest challenge of his career. I am aware of possibly moving up to 122 pounds, Nakatani has said. I keep that in mind when I am training. If the opportunity comes up to fight Inoue, that would be great. I might be able to give a better performance at 122 pounds. It's something that he would probably consider, because that's the kind of guy he is. The respect between the 2 fighters is evident. After Nakatani's Unification win over Nishida, he requested that Inoue wait for him, to give him time to establish himself at bantamweight before making the leap. Whether Inoue will honor that request remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. When these two finally meet, it will be one of the biggest fights Japanese boxing has ever seen. Potential plans call for the fight to happen at the Tokyo Dome, perhaps in the summer of 2026. Imagine that spectacle. 80,000 screaming fans watching two of their nation's greatest fighters go to war. It would be historic. It would be legendary. It would be a fight that defines a generation. But Inoue isn't the only mega fight on the horizon. Jesse "Bam" Rodriguez, the unified super flyweight champion from San Antonio, Texas,
Left hand scores it.
represents another mouth-watering possibility. Rodriguez, at just 22 years old, is already considered one of the best fighters in the world. He's a two-division champion, undefeated in 22 fights with 15 knockouts. He moves with grace, fights with intelligence, and carries serious power. Many consider him the future of the sport. Earlier in 2025, talks were held about making Nakatani versus Rodriguez happen. According to promoter Eddie Hearn, the fight was nearly finalized for a December card in Saudi Arabia, with Inoue as a co-main event. Rodriguez said yes immediately, but Nakatani's team declined, likely because they were already looking ahead to the Inoue mega fight. Still, Nakatani has made it clear he wants the Rodriguez fight. "I want a title unification fight at 118 pounds next," Nakatani said, when asked about potential opponents. When presented with the scenario of fighting Rodriguez, his eyes widened. He grinned from ear to ear and said yes in English. Rudy Hernandez is even more confident. "I hope we fight Bam," he told The Ring magazine. "If you were Bam, would you be calling out Nakatani? Junto beats Bam 100% within 6 to 8 rounds. We'll knock him out. I am confident about it." Those are fighting words. Rodriguez's team has responded with equal confidence, with trainer Robert Garcia clarifying that while talks happened, it was actually Nakatani's promoter who didn't want the fight between their two stars. Anticipation is building. A Nakatani-Rodriguez fight would be fascinating from a stylistic standpoint. Both are southpaws. Both have exceptional footwork and ring IQ. Both carry knockout power. It would be a chess match played at breakneck speed, with both fighters looking for the opening to land the fight-ending shot. There are other names floating around as well. Takuma Inoue, Naoya's younger brother, and a world champion in his own right, could provide another unification opportunity. Fernando Martinez, the current WBA super flyweight champion, would be a tough, durable challenge. Kazuto Ioka, a legendary 4-division champion, represents a legacy fight if he decides to continue his career. Some have even mentioned the possibility of Nakatani facing Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, one of the greatest fighters of the modern era. While Gonzalez is in the twilight of his career, his name value and skills would still make for an intriguing matchup. But let's be honest, the boxing world wants to see Nakatani versus Inoue. Everything else feels like a stepping stone to that inevitable collision. As of late November 2025, Nakatani is scheduled to face Sebastian Hernandez on December 27th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Hernandez is a capable opponent, but this fight feels like a tune-up, a chance for Nakatani to stay active while the bigger plans are finalized. Because make no mistake, bigger plans are coming. Nakatani has positioned himself as one of the most dangerous fighters on the planet. His knockout ratio of 77% speaks to his finishing ability. His perfect record of 31-0 speaks to his consistency. His 3-division world titles speak to his versatility. He's 27 years old, hitting his physical prime, with the experience and skills to match his power. The scary thing for the rest of the bantamweight and super bantamweight divisions is this: he's still improving. For years, Junto Nakatani operated in the shadows, while Naoya Inoue captured headlines and built his legend. Nakatani quietly went about his business, dismantling opponents, collecting titles, and perfecting his craft. He was the dark horse, the secret weapon, the fighter that hardcore fans knew about, but the casual audience had yet to discover. Those days are over. With each knockout, with each dominant performance, with each new championship, Nakatani has stepped further into the spotlight. He's no longer the dark horse. He's the favorite, the destroyer, the man that other fighters have to game plan for, worry about, lose sleep over. The Ring magazine has him ranked as the #7 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. ESPN has him as their #1 bantamweight. His name is mentioned in the same breath as Inoue, Rodriguez, and the other elite fighters of the current era. He's done this without the flash and self-promotion that often accompanies modern fighters. No trash talk, no social media wars, no gimmicks. Just show up, do the work in training camp, and then destroy whoever is put in front of you on fight night. It's an old-school approach in a new-school era, and it's working beautifully. His trainer, Rudy Hernandez, sees something special every time Nakatani walks into the gym. "Junto is the greatest fighter I've ever trained," he said. And given his decades in the sport, that's not a statement made lightly. Japan has a rich boxing tradition, producing legends like Fighting Harada, Yoko Gushiken, and more recently, the entire Inoue family. Junto Nakatani is writing himself into that history, carving out his own chapter in the story of Japanese boxing excellence. The preparation is there, the skills are there, the power is undeniable. The resume is building toward all-time great status. Now it's just a matter of seizing the biggest opportunities when they present themselves. And based on everything we've seen over 31 professional fights and 10 years as a professional, there's every reason to believe Nakatani will do exactly that. The clock is ticking toward the super fights. Whether it's Inoue in the summer of 2026 at the Tokyo Dome, or Rodriguez in a Unification showdown, Junto Nakatani's legacy-defining moments are approaching fast. He's ready for them. He's been preparing for them his entire career. From that 15-year-old kid flying alone to Los Angeles to train, to the present-day unified champion, every step has been building toward this moment. The knockouts will continue. The dominance will continue. The march toward greatness will continue. 31 wins.
Nakatani's got him hurt.
24 knockouts. 3 divisions conquered, and the best is still to come. The monster has been unleashed, and the boxing world is watching. This is Junto Nakatani, the silent assassin. Big Bang, Japan's dark horse who stepped into the light and proved he belongs among the very best fighters on the planet. The world will be watching as one of the most devastating punchers of this generation looks to cement his place in boxing immortality. The future of boxing is now, and Junto Nakatani is at the center of it all.